Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharyamadhyamam Asmadacharyaparyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shrutismritipurananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Samastajana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkrupatamaham Vande Paramanandamadhavam Paramanandamadhavam. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. We are seeing answer to the question, what is anatma? What is not self? Kaha asau anatma. And in that, so far we have seen two upadhis. The upadhi of gross body, sthula sharira, and upadhi of subtle body, sukshma sharira. So if we see verse number 207 was the topic of subtle body. Started from verse number 92. So Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji started by first individually explaining what are the components of subtle body, right? So 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action, antakarana and pranas, 5 pranas individually were explained first. Then he reconciled the entire idea of sukshma sharira and explained to us what that sukshma sharira is. Then he went on to explain how the characteristics of the components of the subtle body do not belong to the self, right? Qualities, functions also. So functions of those things, they do not belong to the self. The self is something which is very different from all of them. Andhatva, mandatva, patutva dharmaha, natu vettur atmanaha. They do not belong to the self. They belong to the individual faculties. So the properties and functions of 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action, 5 pranas. And finally, he also explained the concept of ego. And how even what the ego represents, the doer and enjoyer, that also does not belong to the self. The self never becomes happy or sad, sukhi, dukhi, etc. That is the ego, that is the individual, jiva, ahankara, whatever you want to say. That is the one who is becoming sukhi or dukhi based on the conducive environment, based on the favorable objects or unfavorable objects. Why? Because the self is of the nature of bliss. So in the last session, we logically understood how the self is of the nature of bliss. I hope you remember the logic. I love what gives me joy. I love myself the most. Means I give joy to myself the most. To give joy, I must have joy. Therefore, I am of the nature of bliss. Atmarthatvena hi preyan vishayah na swatah priyah. Even the outside objects are dear to me because they give me joy. But the joy that I experience, so to say, from outside objects also actually comes from my own self. Objects in themselves do not have inherent joy in them. Okay? Now, having said that, please also remember, objects are also nothing but the Atma. Because Atma is one and all pervasive. So that aspect of Atma is there in the object also. So they also have inherent capacity to give joy. That is there in them. But what I like gives me joy. What I don't like doesn't give me joy. Now this changing phenomenon of giving joy and sorrow to me does not belong to the self. It belongs to that particular object, that particular form of object. This also we must not forget. In other texts, etc., if you see in Drishyaviveka, it will be explained as asti bhati priyam rupam namachetyam shapanchakam adyatrayam brahma rupam jagadrupam tatodvayam. Every single object in the world has got 5 aspects: Sat, Chit, Ananda, form and name. Adyatrayam brahma rupam, the previous 3 means what? The Sat, Chit, Ananda aspect. These 3 aspects belong to Brahman. Belong to Brahman means belong to the substratum, the self. Rupa and Nama, form and name, belong to that object. So even the capacity that the object, so to say, has to give me joy actually doesn't belong to the object. It belongs to the self, which is the substratum of the object, which is also my own self. That's why even if we say that the objects don't have inherent capacity to give me joy, the joy comes from the self, it is not wrong. Don't get confused. Objects do have Ananda aspect, but that aspect does not belong to the object. It belongs to the substratum Brahman. It belongs to the self. Okay? So that's what we have seen so far. Now, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji begins the topic of causal body. Okay? Causal body. Karana Sharira. Karana Sharira, that which causes subtle and gross body. That's called as causal body, Karana Sharira. It is the cause for Sthula and Sukshma Sharira. Right? Now, that Karana Sharira mainly is made up of what we call as avidya. But here, we are going to see avidya from individual's perspective and also from total perspective, which is also called as māyā. Avidya on the samashti level, totality, level of totality, is called as māyā. So that will be explained first. So as we are going through the explanation, please keep this thought in mind that the explanation of māyā and the explanation of avidya is one and the same. Few aspects will be strictly for māyā, few aspects will also be there for avidya. Because māyā is overall, total causal world, avidya is individual causal body. We have seen in subtle body also, Shankaracharya had included the 5 bhutas, pancha mahabhutas, thus including the entire sukshma jagat, the entire subtle world he had included. Similarly, he is doing it here. So now, when he explains māyā, please also keep it in mind that the similar explanation is there for avidya also. Okay? Now, 3 verses he takes to explain what is this māyā. Beautiful verses and from 3 perspectives. So, māyā is causal, we are talking about, right? So, it has effects. The subtle body, the subtle world, the gross body, the gross world, these are the effects of Maya. So first explanation is from the standpoint of the effects. Maya looked from the effects side. Then second verse will be Maya from the standpoint of Maya itself. Maya will be explained from its own standpoint. And third verse will explain Maya from the standpoint of Brahman, the supreme reality. Okay? So like this in 3 verses, these are beautiful verses. I had mentioned in the last session also, if at all at any place you are explaining Maya, you cannot skip these verses. You have to explain this, right? So beautiful verses. Let us begin verse number 108. Avyaktanāmnī parameśaśaktiḥ anādyavidyā triguṇātmikā parā kāryānumeyā sudhiyaiva māyā yayā jagatsarvamidaṃ prasūyate. Avyaktanāmnī parameśaśaktiḥ anādyavidyā triguṇātmikā parā kāryānumeyā sudhiyaiva māyā yayā jagatsarvamidaṃ prasūyate. Every single word is very, very important in this explanation of Maya. First word is avyaktanāmnī. Namni, that which is called, that which has got this name. What is the name? Avyakta. Avyakta means that which is not vyakta. Vyakta means that which is manifested. So avyakta means unmanifest. So that which is called as unmanifest. What do you mean by unmanifest? It indicates the causal form, which is not seen, not distinguishable, but it is there. So the entire manifest world, the subtle and the gross world, has come from this unmanifest, avyakta. So Maya, we have seen one synonym, avyakta. So in Upanishads, etc. See, this is Prakarana Grantha we are studying. So Prakarana Grantha is supposed to prepare us for studying the Upanishads, Gita and Brahma Sutra, etc. So in Upanishads, whenever the word avyakta will be used, immediately our mind should go on Maya. Every time Upanishad may not use the word Maya, right? Avyaktanāmnī, that which is named avyakta, unmanifest. Unmanifest means causal, that from which the manifest world has come. Like seed, we say, no? We say in the seed, what all things are there? Everything of the tree is there in the seed. The bark and the leaves and the fruit, everything is there. But how it is there? It is in unmanifest form in the seed. Then when that seed is, germinates and then slowly becomes the tree, then everything is manifested, right? From the same seed. So, avyaktanāmnī, Maya, first Visheshana is that which is unmanifest. Parameśaśaktiḥ is the power of the Lord. Param, supreme. Isha, Parama Isha. Parama Isha, Parama supreme, Isha, Lord. Supreme Lord, Shaktiḥ, power of the Supreme Lord. Parameśaśaktiḥ. What do you mean by power of the Supreme Lord? It is that power which makes creation happen. It is the creative power of the Lord. Creative power of the Supreme Lord. Or you can also interpret it as Parama Isha. Isha itself is Lord. Parama Isha can refer to Brahman. The power of Brahman. Power of Brahman means what? It is not independently existing. It is the power of Brahman. Its existence is dependent on Brahman. Why? Because my power has to reside in me. You see, I say no, I am very strong. Okay, that strength resides where? In me. I am very intelligent. Okay, that intelligence resides where? In me. So the power has to always reside in the one who possesses that power. So parameśaśaktiḥ can also mean power of Brahman. Means what? That which resides in Brahman, that which doesn't have independent existence. It has borrowed its existence from Brahman. Earlier also we have seen this concept that Brahman by itself cannot create anything. Why? Because Brahman is non-dual. Advaya. And being non-dual, there is no creation possible. But there is nothing other than Brahman. How can he create? But creation we see. How do you explain the creation then? If Brahman doesn't create, if the world cannot create itself, somebody must have created it. So therefore we bring the concept of Ishvara, Lord. And how do we say, what is Ishvara? We say Ishvara is equal to Brahman plus Maya. Now what is this Brahman plus Maya? Brahman along with its creative power, Maya, is termed Ishvara. But Vedji, Brahman plus Maya, which means Maya is there other than Brahman. No, but Maya is not there. Maya, Yama, that which is not there is called as Maya. Ya, that which, Ma means not there. In Sanskrit, Ma means not. That which is not there. So if you see like that, Brahman plus Maya is Brahman plus 0. That is Brahman only. So from the paramarthik standpoint, from the absolute standpoint, there is no Maya. But from the transactional standpoint that we all are right now, Vyavaharika Satta, we see the creation, we have to posit the cause of creation, and that cause of creation cannot be only Brahman. Because how can Brahman create something? So Brahman remaining as substratum has this capacity called Maya which creates the world. That's how we define. That's how we explain the creation. Still for the entire creation, Brahman is the substratum. Without that substratum, nothing can exist, not even Maya. We just said parameśaśaktiḥ. If Maya is the power of Brahman, it has to reside in Brahman. So Brahman is the substratum for Maya, and Brahman is also substratum for the entire world that is created by Maya. Right? So Brahman, along with its capacity of Maya, power of Maya, create the entire world. Is this understood? So parameśaśaktiḥ explains 2 points. One is that it is a creative power of Brahman or the Supreme Lord, whatever you want to call. And second thing, it resides in the same Brahman. Okay, just note this point. This is an important point to note. Because in Vedanta itself, there are different theories. There are difference of opinion is there about where this Maya reside. There is a Bhamatikara and Vivarana. There are two vadas are there. Not required at the moment. If somebody has studied, then it is just to give reference. Brahma Sutra's commentary is there by Shankaracharya. On that, there is a Tika, Vartika, etc. written Bhamati. In that Bhamatikara is putting a different opinion, and the Vivaranakara is putting a different opinion. So they say, where does the Maya reside? So one opinion is it resides in Brahman, as Shankaracharya says here, points out here. Second opinion is that Maya resides in an individual, not in Brahman, and therefore it goes away. right now we don't have to fight over that and find out what is correct, what is not. That's not our job at all. We have to understand one thing, that it is parameśaśaktiḥ. It is the power of the Supreme Lord. It resides in that Supreme Lord, or it resides in Brahman. So avyaktanāmnī parameśaśaktiḥ anādyavidyā, anādyavidyā. It is beginningless ignorance. Avidya, ajnana, same only. It is beginningless ignorance. Now this topic also we have seen earlier. We had seen what are the 6 things in Vedanta which are beginningless. Remember? Jiva isho vishuddhāchita tatha jiveshayor bhida avidya tacchitor yogah shadasmakam anādayah. Verse from Panchadashi which we had seen. There avidya is there. Right? That verse we had seen to explain the concept of jiva, which is, or subtle body, which is beginningless. Now here avidya also has come. Anādyavidyā, beginningless ignorance, the causeless non-apprehension of the self. That's why it is called as kārana. What is kārana? Kārana sharira means what? That which causes everything but is not caused by anything is called as kārana. Careful. Kārana sharira means what? That which causes everything but is not caused by anything means what? It doesn't have another cause. It does have substratum, but it doesn't have cause. Causeless cause. Causeless cause. It doesn't have a cause, but it is cause for other. For other means what? For the subtle and gross world. So it is anadi, beginningless word refers that it doesn't have any cause. There is nothing behind it. It has not come from something. It is there. All other things are at a particular time, they have a beginning. Means what? They are born at that particular time. Means what? They have a particular cause. They are the effects. Whereas avidya is the cause. The causeless cause. Anādyavidyā. Triguṇātmikā. Next word is triguṇātmikā. It is of the nature of 3 gunas. 3. Guna. Keep the word guna as it is right now. The topic will come. After 2 verses, the topic of gunas will begin. That time we will see what is the meaning of the word guna. But we know what are the 3 gunas. Very famous 3 gunas. What are they? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Sattva guna, Rajo guna, Tamo guna. Triguṇātmikā. It is of the nature of these 3 qualities, these 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Parā. Parā, it is superior. It is superior to what? It is superior to its effects, the gross and the subtle worlds, and it is also superior to the 3 gunas. Because triguṇātmikā parā, together we have to see, no? Parā means superior. Now, actually speaking, though Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji is explaining what this Maya is, he is also giving us names of Maya. So Maya will be referred to in different contexts, in different texts by any of these terms. Avyakta, parameśaśaktiḥ or only Shakti, Anadi, Avidya, Triguṇātmikā, Parā. All these are names of Maya. Parat, Param. That which is superior than the superior. Means what? That which is higher than Maya. So that Purusha will be called as Parat Para. That which is superior to this Maya also. Right? Purushanna param kinchit. And then there is nothing superior, higher to that Purusha. Sa kashtha, sa parāgatihi. Kathopanishad, etc. In Bhagavad Gita also similar verse is there. Right? So these, though they are explanations of Maya, but these are also the names of Maya. Synonyms, you can say. So at different places, we will see different word used, different term used for Maya. Right? Now next, what does it so say? Avyaktanāmnī, parameśaśaktiḥ, anādyavidyā, triguṇātmikā, parā. Now what does it say? Kāryānumeyā. Karya, effect. Anumeyā, that which is inferred. That which is inferred from its effects. By seeing the effects, the cause is inferred. What do you mean? What do you mean? The nature of Maya cannot be understood or explained. Why? Because it is beyond the intellect, beyond the mind. So mind cannot understand it, intellect cannot explain it. So it is beyond, and therefore, how do we know that Maya is triguṇātmikā or Maya is parā? How do we know? By seeing its effects, we have inferred the nature of the cause. Many times we say like that, huh? We see somebody's behavior and we say, now I understand from which family you are coming. How can you say that? Because the cause is there in the effect. By seeing the characteristics of the effects, you are inferring the characteristics of the cause. So here what is happening? Because that Maya cannot be understood, looking at its effects, we are inferring its cause, the Maya. So kāryānumeyā. So effects of the Maya are all having three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. So if every single thing in the world has sattva, rajas, tamas, it must have come from its cause. Therefore, Maya must have got three gunas of sattva, rajas, tamas. Can anybody experience Maya? No. Why? Because to experience you need mind and intellect. This is beyond mind and intellect. The effect can never see the cause. Effects can never see the cause. Right? So Maya cannot be understood by itself. Maya is understood from inference by looking at its effects. And who can infer it? Sudhiyaiva. So kāryānumeyā sudhiyaiva. Sudhiya means by a sharp intellect alone, anumeyā, it is inferred. Not that everybody can understand or everybody can infer the effects. Infer the nature of Maya by looking at the effects. No. Kāryānumeyā sudhiyaiva. By a sharp intellect alone, it is inferred. What is inferred? Maya is inferred. The nature of Maya is inferred. Kāryānumeyā sudhiyaiva. Māyā. This is what is called as Maya. Now the word Maya has come. What is Maya? Sa Maya. That which is not there is called as Maya. See, in our simple Sanskrit also, in our languages also, in Indian languages also, Maya means magic. Isn't it? Maya means magic. Māyāvi is a magician. Māyāvi. So Maya is what? It's magic. That's why the word Maya is given. What do you mean by its magic? It creates everything from, so to say, nothing. See, that's the magic, isn't it? Childhood, etc. used to go for magic show. What will the magician do? From nothing, suddenly he will create something. It will appear like that. That from nothing he is creating everything. That there is only one handkerchief and he will just do like this, and from the handkerchief something else will come up. From the hat the rabbit will come up. From your ears, etc. coins will come out. Isn't it? Just like that. Then you used to say, oh, magic. So this Maya is also like that. So to say, from nothing, it's creating everything. Maya. But please remember, it is not there. There is nothing called as magic. What do you mean by magic? Can you really create nothing, create something from nothing? Nothing, is it possible? It's a trick. You don't know the trick, therefore you call it as magic. The magician will not call it as magic. They will say sleight of hands. They will say it's just haath chalaki. It's just fast movement of my hands and it appears as though I am creating something from nothing. For the ignorant, it's a magic. For the knowledgeable, it's just there. Or you can say it is not there. Magic is not there. For the magician or for the helpers of the magician, they know all the tricks. For the ignorant, it is there. This is that Maya. Now what? Yayā jagatsarvamidaṃ prasūyate. Yayā, by which, by whom? Idam sarvam jagat. This idam, sarvam, entire, jagat, world, prasūyate, is created. By whom this entire world is created. Okay, so it is the cause of the entire world. Now, often when concept of Maya comes, we will see that they will say that Maya has two powers, Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. Avarana Shakti means veiling power. It veils, it covers. It covers what? It covers the reality. And Vikshepa Shakti, projecting power. It projects something else in the place of reality. So the word anādyavidyā in the explanation refers to Avarana Shakti. That it veils the self from beginningless time. It is anādyavidyā. It covers the self and then it projects the entire world. So, yayā idam sarvam jagat prasūyate, yayā jagatsarvamidaṃ prasūyate refers to Vikshepa Shakti, projecting power. Okay? Avarana Shakti, Vikshepa Shakti, veiling power and projecting power. This is what is Maya when seen from the standpoint of the effects. Avyaktanāmnī, it is unmanifest. Parameśaśaktiḥ, it is the power of the Lord. Anādyavidyā, it is the beginningless ignorance. Triguṇātmikā, it is of the nature of three gunas. Parā, it is superior to the gross and subtle worlds. Kāryānumeyā sudhiyaiva, by a sharp intellect alone, it is inferred through its effects. Kāryānumeyā. That is Maya. Yayā jagatsarvamidaṃ prasūyate, that from which, by which this entire world is created, is projected. Prasūyate can also mean projected. Right? Now, okay. So, we have seen the Maya from the standpoint of the effects. Now, you explain Maya from its own standpoints. From its own standpoint, you explain. From the effects, okay, fine. The only explanation possible for Maya from its own standpoint is that it cannot be explained. Anirvacanīya. Anirvacanīya. Anirvacanīya means that which is inexplicable. Now, this word is often misunderstood. Why this word is misunderstood? Many times people use this word to run away from a problem. When you ask them to explain this, then they will say, no, it cannot be explained. See, it is not said that Maya cannot be explained. Maya is inexplicable is the explanation of Maya. It being inexplicable itself is an explanation. What do you mean by that? It cannot be explained in certain terms, in certain way. That's what it means. See, often people use this word anirvachanīyarūpā. In Bhagavan Shankaracharya's Tattvabodha also definition, if you see, he will say anirvachanīyarūpā, but he is explaining māyā and then he is saying it is anirvachanīyarūpā. He is using all these terms, that it is anādya, it is avidya, kārana shariram kim, anirvācya anādyavidyā rūpam, shariradvayasya kāranamatram satsvarūpa jnanam nirvikalpaka rūpam yadasti tat kārana shariram. He starts by saying anirvācya, but then further explains. Now, if you are explaining, why are you calling it as inexplicable? Because it cannot be explained in a certain way. So, what are the ways it cannot be explained? That is explained in the next verse. That you cannot say it as sat, nor can you call it as asat. You cannot say that it is different from Brahman. You cannot even say that it is same as Brahman. You cannot say that it has parts. You cannot even say that it has no parts. In that way, it is inexplicable. That's how Shankaracharya explains one of the very popular shlokas of Vivekachoodamani. Next verse, 109. Sannāpyasannāpyubhayātmikā no bhinnāpyabhinnāpyubhayātmikā no sāṅgāpyanaṅgā hyubhayātmikā no mahādbhutānirvacanīyarūpā sannāpyasannāpyubhayātmikā no bhinnāpyabhinnāpyubhayātmikā no sāṅgāpyanaṅgā hyubhayātmikā no mahādbhutānirvacanīyarūpā. Sandhi knowledge is required. How to separate the words. Now you see how many words are there, okay? Sannāpyasannāpyubhayātmikā is written together, isn't it? Now you see how many words are there in it. Sat, na, api, asat, na, api, ubhayātmikā. These many words are there in that first, so to say, first word. Sat, na, api, asat, na, api, ubhayātmikā. No, no, no means na, u. No, in English, no. No. The next one also you see, bhinnāpyabhinnāpyubhayātmikā. What is this? Bhinna api or bhinna api, abhinna api ubhayātmikā. Na u. Bhinna api, abhinna api ubhayātmikā. Na u. No. Then sāṅgāpyanaṅgā. Sa anga, sāṅgā, api, anaṅgā, hi, ubhayātmikā na u. Sāṅgāpyanaṅgā, hyubhayātmikā no. In some pathas, it is also there, sāṅgāpyanaṅgā pyubhayātmikā no. Then api is there, instead of hi, api is there. Same way like sannāpyasannāpyubhayā, bhinnāpyabhinnāpyubhayātmikā no. Like that, sāṅgāpyanaṅgā pyubhayāt, that's also okay. But in the part that I am referring, it is sāṅgāpyanaṅgā, one word, hyubhayātmikā no, hi ubhayātmikā no. Mahādbhutā anirvacanīyarūpā. What is Shankaracharya saying? He is saying, see, three things are said here in first three padas. First pada says, satna. It is neither sat. Api asat na api. It is not even asat. It is neither sat nor asat. Ubhayātmikā api na. And it is also not the combination of sat and asat. What is this sat asat? What are they doing? Earlier we had seen, what do we mean by sat? Sat means existence. How do we define existence? So we say kalatrayepi tishtati iti sat. That which exists in all the three periods of time is called as sat. It was, it is, and it will be forever. That is called as sat. Can you say Maya is sat? No. Why? Was it always there? Yes, it was always there. Why? Anādyavidyā. Is it there now? Yes, it is there now. Will it always be there? No. Why? Because it will end. Avidya, Maya will end when we realize. So it cannot be called as sat. Okay, then call it as asat. Opposite of sat is asat. If you cannot call it as sat, then call it as asat. No. That also we cannot call. Why? Asat means that which is non-existent. Non-existence means which you should never experience, which is not there at all. Generally the example of asat etc. is given, khapushpam. Khapushpam is sky flower. Sky flower means flower that has come out from sky. It's not there, it's not possible. Sky has to come from a, flower has to come from a tree. Sky flower is not possible. Or they will say horns of the rabbit. Rabbit doesn't have horns. Horns of the rabbit, Shashavishana. Or they will say Vandhyaputra, son of a barren lady. It's not possible. Means what? Non-existence is called as asat. Can we call Maya as asat? No. Why? Because we experience it. So it is neither existence which is always there, nor it is non-existence. Oh, okay. Then must be it is a combination of sat and asat. Sat and asat cannot have combination. How can two things mix which are absolutely opposite? Sat means that which is always there. Asat means that which is never there. How can there be combination of the? So it is neither sat, satna, nor it is non-existence. Api asatna. Api hyubhayātmikā, no, not even the combination of sat and asat. That's why we call Maya as mithya. Sadasadhyam bhinnā. It is different from sat and asat. That's what we call it as mithya. Why? Because if it is sat, it should never get falsified. And if it is asat, it should never be experienced. Same thing in Sanskrit we say satchet na badhyeta, asatchet na pratiyeta. If it is sat, satchet na badhyeta, it cannot be falsified. Means what? It was there, it is there, it should always be there. Then only you can call it as sat. Satchet, if it is sat, then it is never falsified. Asatchet, if it is asat, na pratiyeta, it should never be experienced. So now what is happening with this? It is neither sat, nor asat, nor combination of both sat and asat. Therefore, it is something different from these. And because we don't have a term for it, we have given a term called mithya. Mithya means what? That which is not always there, but appears to be there. It's not sat, but it is not asat also. It appears to be there, but not always there. So not sat. So therefore, how Maya is explained? Sat na, api asat na, api hyubhayātmikā na u. It's neither sat, nor asat, nor the combination of sat and asat. First explanation. So in this way, it is inexplicable. Means what? You can neither call it as sat, nor can you call it as asat. Some questions are like that. Answer in yes or no. How are you? How will you answer? How are you? Answer in yes or no. You cannot answer. How are you? Yes. A wrong answer. How are you? No. That's also not the correct answer. A yes or no type of question should be, the question should be such which can be answered into yes or no. Are you hungry? Yes. Are you sleepy? No. Those type of questions I can say yes or no. How are you? How will you explain? How? In yes or no? You cannot. Maya is something which can neither be called as Sat nor can be called as Asat. So if you ask me, is it Sat or Asat? I will have to say it is neither Sat nor Asat nor the combination. Then you will say, but then that means that it is not there. No, it is there. But it is neither Sat nor Asat. Therefore we say anirvachaniya. It cannot be explained as Sat or Asat. Next, he continues. What? Bhinnāpyabhinnāpyubhayātmikā na. That now has to go with everything. Bhinna, different. It is neither different nor non-different nor combination of both together. Means what? We cannot say that Maya is different from Brahman. Why? Because if Maya is different from Brahman, then there will be an entity different from Brahman. But other than Brahman, nothing can be there. So you cannot say Maya is a separate entity other than Brahman or different from Brahman. Okay, if it is not different from Brahman, then it is same as Brahman. That is also not possible. Why? Because if it is same as Brahman, then it will be Brahman only. Why are you calling it by different name? What is there which is not different from Brahman? That is me. That is the self which is not different from Brahman. And it is Brahman only. Maya is neither different from Brahman, nor is it same as Brahman, nor is it combination of both. Can you say it is at the same time same as Brahman also and different from Brahman also? That is also not possible. Either something will be different from Brahman or it will be same as Brahman. So it is neither different nor non-different nor the combination. Are you getting? Sannāpyasannāpyubhayātmikā, no. Sāṅgāpyanaṅgāpyubhayātmikā, no. So with respect to Sat and Asat, you cannot explain it. With respect to whether it is different from Brahman or same as Brahman or what, that also you cannot explain. Therefore we said Brahmashraya. Brahmashraya means what? That which has got Brahman as its ashraya, substratum. But it being superimposition is neither same as substratum or the superimposition cannot be called as same as substratum, nor can you say that it is separate from the substratum, because it cannot be separated from its substratum. If you remove the substratum, it will not be there. Right? Always remember the example of rope and snake. Can you say snake is different from rope? No. You cannot. Can you say snake is rope from snake's point of view? No. From rope's point of view, yes. From snake's point of view, no. Can you say snake is also different from rope and same as rope? No, no, no. You cannot say. Can you say snake is Sat, always existent? No. Can you say snake is Asat, never experienced? No. Why? You are seeing. That is what Maya is. It is superimposition, and therefore it is neither Sat nor Asat. It is neither different from Brahman nor same as Brahman nor non-different from Brahman. Right? Next explanation. Sa-anga api, ananga api, ananga hi ubhayātmikā na u. Sa-anga, with parts. Is Maya having parts? No. Maya doesn't have parts. ananga api, it means that Maya doesn't have parts. That also cannot be said. Why? Because potentially it has got all the parts. Because it is unmanifest, it is not exhibiting those parts. The moment it manifests, the parts are exhibited. You see, the seed has potentially all the parts of the tree. Yes or no? Seed has potentially different parts of the tree in the same seed. It is not that the seed will only, seed will say that I can only make the bark. The rest of the things, etc., I cannot. No. Seed has got bark also in it, and the leaves also, and the fruits also, and the flowers also. All different parts of the tree are there in the seed. So you cannot say that it is not having parts. But at the same time, in the seed, as the seed, does it have parts? No. In the seed, can you show which part is trunk or bark, or which part is going to become the leaf, which part is going to become flower or fruit? You cannot. So it is neither with parts nor without parts. Ubhayātmikā. You cannot say that it is with parts also and without parts also. No. It cannot be both. For explanation of this, we use the word nirvikalpa. Nirvikalpaka rupam. Anirvachanādyavidyā rupam shariradvayasya karanamatram sat swarupajñānam nirvikalpaka rupam. That which is homogeneous mass of ignorance. That is called as māyā vidya. It in itself doesn't have parts, but potentially it has got all the parts in it. Potentially it has. Because it is in unmanifest form, it doesn't exhibit any part. The moment it manifests, it exhibits parts. Therefore, it is neither sa-anga nor ananga. Ananga means na anga, ananga. Ananga, have you heard this word ananga? Some Puranas, etc. you will heard. Ananga means Kamadeva. The one who has got no body. Because his body was burnt by Lord Shiva, isn't it? So Ananga is another name for Kamadeva. That's not what is meaning here. Sa-anga means that which has parts. Sa means Sahita. Along with parts. No, it is not like that. Ananga, na anga. One without any parts. That also is not Maya. Ubhayātmikā. Ubhaya means both together. You say it is with parts and without parts together. No, it can either be with or without. How can you say both together? Right? Mahādbhutā. It is extremely wondrous. That's the only thing that you can say about Maya from its own standpoint. What is that? It is mahādbhutā. There is no other way that it can be explained. It is wondrous. See, when you can't explain something, that's what you call as magic, isn't it? If you can explain it, it is no more magic. Huh? How it happened? Magic. So it is wondrous. Anirvacanīyarūpā, of the inexplicable nature. Again, please remember, when it is said it is inexplicable, that itself is an explanation of Maya. So Maya is inexplicable. This itself is explanation of Maya. Okay. Okay. All right. Veji, one doubt. You said that everything comes from Maya. Correct. So if Maya is inexplicable, everything should be inexplicable. In a way, yes. In a way, if you think, everything is inexplicable only. Every single thing. Now, what is this? Some bowl is there. Okay. Is it Sat? No. It is not Sat. It is not going to ever remain. Is it Asat? No, because I am experiencing. So it is neither Sat nor Asat. Is it different from Brahman? No. Because nothing can be different from Brahman. Brahman alone is. Okay. Is it same as Brahman? No. Because Brahman is all pervasive, not just the bowl here. Brahman is everything. Okay. So it is neither different nor non-different. Does it have parts? Yes, it has. Yes, it has. So what explanation of Maya is given in the entire verse, everything will not apply to the world. Why? Because world is experienced by our senses, by our mind, by our intellect. Therefore, in some way, explanation is possible. Maya being beyond intellect, even that kind of explanation is not possible. Therefore, truly inexplicable is only Maya. See, world also is inexplicable in a way because it is the effect of Maya. So, it will be inexplicable in certain way, Sat, Asat, etc. In these terms, it will be inexplicable. But there is still explanation possible of the world because it can be perceived, it can be thought of, it can be understood. Truly inexplicable is Maya, Karana Sharira, Avidya. So the word anirvacaniya we use only for these. We don't use the word anirvacaniya for the world. Why? Because in some way explanation is possible. See, bowl, at least you can say it is made up of steel. It has got a certain color, grey color is there. You can still explain. Can you explain Maya? What is Maya made up of? Steel, glass, wood? You cannot. Can you say that it has a particular color? You cannot. So truly inexplicable is only Maya. Maya you call Karana Sharira, you call Avidya, it is one and the same. Okay? Many times people get confused little bit in this also. They say if Maya is inexplicable, everything is inexplicable. No. Other things can be explained because they come in the purview of mind, intellect and senses. Maya being beyond all these three and still not being the supreme reality is called as inexplicable. Alright. So that is Maya from its own standpoint. In one place, Shankaracharya used a very interesting phrase to explain Maya. He says, Aghatita ghatana patiyasi Maya. Aghatita ghatana patiyasi Maya. The refrain used in certain verses by Shankaracharya. Aghatita ghatana. Aghatita, that which cannot happen. Ghatana. Maya makes it happen. Patiyasi, the one who makes impossible possible is called as Maya. What do you mean? The world cannot come from Brahman. Still it has come from Brahman. We cannot remain ignorant. Still we are ignorant. How can we be ignorant about our own self? How funny. Impossible. I don't know my own nature and I know everything else. How is it possible? This impossible is made possible by Maya. Agatita ghatana patiyasi. Okay, fine. Now, from the standpoint of Brahman, how do you define, how do you explain Maya? Next verse, 110. Śuddhādvayabrahmavibhodhanāśyā sarpabhramo rajjuvivekato yathā rajastamaḥsattvamiti prasiddhā guṇāstadīyāḥ prathitaiḥ svakāryaiḥ śuddhādvayabrahmavibhodhanāśyā sarpabhramo rajjuvivekato yathā rajastamaḥsattvamiti prasiddhā guṇāstadīyāḥ prathitaiḥ svakāryaiḥ. śuddhādvayabrahmavibhodhanāśyā. Nasya, that which can be destroyed or which is destroyed. Nasha, which undergoes destruction. Nasha means destruction. Nasya, that which undergoes destruction. When vibodha, vishesha bodha, when a person gets experience, knowledge of what? Brahma, knowledge of Brahman. How is that Brahman? Shuddha, pure. Advaya, non-dual. So Maya is that which is destroyed by the knowledge of pure non-dual Brahman. Means what? From the standpoint of Brahman, Maya is not there. You ask effects of Maya, what is Maya? They will say avyaktanāmnī, parameśaśaktiḥ, anādyavidyā, triguṇātmikā, parā, kāryānumeyā, sudhiyaiva māyā, yayā, jagatsarvamidaṃ prasūyate. You ask Maya, what are you? You ask Maya, what are you? Maya will say avyaktanāmnī, sannāpyasannāpyubhayātmikā, bhinnāpyabhinnāpyubhayātmikā, sāṅgāpyanaṅgā, hyubhayātmikā, mahādbhutānirvacanīyarūpā. You ask Brahman, how is Maya or what is Maya? Brahman will ask you again, what is Maya? Why? There is nothing called as Maya. Why? Because Maya is not there for Brahman. Not only that, any person who gets the knowledge, the direct experience of Brahman being my own true nature, Maya is destroyed for such a person. It is destroyed by the self-knowledge, by the knowledge of that pure non-dual Brahman. How? Shankaracharya gives example, yathā sarpabhramo. Just as delusion of snake, rajjuvivekato. When one gets the knowledge of rajju, rope, the illusion of the snake is destroyed. In the same way, when one gets the knowledge of Brahman, Maya is destroyed. There is a rope which is misunderstood as snake. When one sees the rope, there is no snake. Right? Snake from our standpoint, snake from snake's standpoint, and snake from rope's standpoint. This is the three verses. Are you getting? From its own standpoint, it cannot be explained. From the standpoint of its substratum, it is not there. From the standpoint of its effects, what is Maya? It is the cause. It is the unmanifest, beginningless cause called ignorance, which has three gunas. That's how it is. Okay. So first line of this verse explains Maya from standpoint of Brahman. Means what? Maya is not there for Brahman. And with the knowledge of Brahman, Maya is destroyed. Because it is destroyed, it is not Sat. Remember. Śuddhādvayabrahmavibhodhanāśyā. It is destroyed when the knowledge of Brahman takes place. Therefore, it cannot be Sat. Right? Now he says, Rajah, Tamaha, Sattvam, iti guṇāha tadīyāḥ. Tadīyāḥ, its. Guṇāha, gunas. What are they? Rajah, Tamaha, Sattvamiti. Rajas, Tamas and Sattvam. Now generally we say Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, isn't it? Why is Shankaracharya saying Rajas, Tamas, Sattva? Because in that order he is going to explain the gunas. Now the explanation of gunas will begin. So verses now up to 110 we have seen. No? So next 9 verses, these 3 gunas are explained. Rajoguna is explained in next 2 verses, 11 and 12. 111 and 112. Tamoguna is explained explained from 113 to 116. And then Sattva Guna is explained from 117 to 119. So next 9 shlokas will explain this concept of 3 gunas. Okay. So what he says, Rajaha Tamaha Sattvam iti tadiyaha gunaha prathitaiḥ svakāryaiḥ prasiddhā. And they are well known, they are famous. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, these are the terms which are very famous. Isn't it? Even those people who have not studied Vedanta will speak of this. Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, etc. They are famous, well known. Svakāryaiḥ prathitaiḥ. Prathitaiḥ means named. Svakāryaiḥ, because of their functions. Their respective functions. Means what? They are named based on what they do. Simple as that. Okay. So these 3 are Maya's gunas. Tadiyaha gunaha. Gunas of the Maya, which are well known and famous and named according to their respective functions. Now, let us understand these terms, and then in the next class we will understand how Shankaracharya is explaining. So word is guna. So first word is guna, common to all, no? The word guna in Sanskrit has many meanings. Guna means quality. Guna means personality, habit. Swabhava guna we say, no? Swabhava guna. In simple Sanskrit I am explaining. Guna also means rope or thread. Thread is also called as guna in Sanskrit. A thread is also called as guna. Now in each science, guna becomes a technical term. Okay, for example, in Ayurveda, if you see, Ayurveda is a science. If you see, guna in Ayurveda has got a particular meaning. They also have 3 gunas in Ayurveda. Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Isn't it? Different, because that science is different. You see, guna, if you take in Vyakarana, grammar, they will say 3 letters are called as guna. A, and O. Adeng gunaha. Guna samnya is given to 3 letters. A, and O. And based on that, there will be different rules that they will explain. So guna in Vyakarana Shastra, if you go to a Vyakarana class and ask those people what is guna, they will say Adeng gunaha. A, O is called guna. Now in Vedanta Shastra, when we use the word guna, we refer to these 3 gunas called Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Why? Because guna also means color. Color. And guna, varna, just as varna means color, and that varna is based on guna. So guna is actually what? It is a color of mind. Of mind, of everything. It is a property, it is a sample, you can say. Now, if we analyze the entire world, it can only be classified into 3. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Everything in the world can be classified into these 3. Bhagavad Gita, if we see 14th chapter, 16th chapter, 17th chapter, 18th chapter, Bhagavan gives one after the another Sattva, Rajas, Tamas in everything. 3 types of food, 3 types of shraddha, 3 types of tapas, 3 types of dana, 3 types of yajna, 3 types of buddhi, 3 types of dhritti, 3 types of jnana. Everything he classified as Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Now what are these terms? Sattva means what? Sattva means goodness. Good. We in our simple conversational language also we say, no? Sattva, sar, essence, goodness, sat, sadhu, satsanga. Sat means what? Good. So sattva, goodness. Rajas. The word rajas means dirt. Rajas means dirt. Tamas, the word means darkness. Andhakara. So, when we are referring this sattva, rajas, tamas as guna, now this we just said word to word meaning. Guna means quality or property. Sattva means goodness. Rajas means dirt. Tamas means darkness. Now, when you say sattva guna, same meaning is there. So, for each guna, now we are going to see two words, which we should always remember. Sattva guna means purity and nobility. Or purity and knowledge. The moment word sattva comes, jnana and purity should come to our mind. Rajoguna, whenever we will say, two things should come to our mind. What is that? Impurity and agitation. Impurity and agitation. And whenever we will refer to tamoguna, again two things should come to mind. Ignorance and laziness. So, sattva guna, knowledge and purity. Rajoguna, impurity and agitation. Tamoguna, ignorance and laziness. These words should immediately come to our mind. Okay? This much introduction is sufficient. Now, Shankaracharya will take each of these gunas and will explain. Now, you see, we saw that māyā has two powers. Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. Remember? So, Avarana Shakti is tamoguna. Effect of tamoguna. Vikshepa Shakti is effect of rajoguna. Veji, but what happened to Sattva-guna? So, there is a third power of māyā called as Vivekachūdamani. This Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti keeps us in bondage. The third power of māyā, Vivekachūdamani, will fight with these two Shaktis and will take us outside the bondage. Sometimes in some texts, you will also hear the terms Vidya Māyā and Avidya Māyā. So, Vidya Māyā is this Viveka Shakti they are referring to. And Avidya Māyā is Avarana and Vikshepa Shakti. Means what? Who puts us in bondage? Māyā. Who will release us from bondage? Same Māyā. Why? If we take side of Sattva, it will fight with Rajas and Tamas and it will take us across. So, two of its qualities put us in bondage. One covers the truth, another projects the untruth, and third one will help us to distinguish between truth and untruth. Okay. This is māyā. Alright. Sufficient for today. Next session we will continue with the first explanation of Rajoguna, then Tamoguna, then Sattvaguna. Chalo. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om.